Now, what were the four different types of prehistoric art that our ancestors have utilized? The first type of prehistoric art are petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are just random rock carvings. In petroglyphs, the carvings has no sequence or story to tell. So as you can see on the left side of your slide, that is your example of petroglyphs. It is not necessary that you look at the petroglyph from left to right or from right to left or from top to bottom and vice versa because there is no sequence or story. Now, if you would look at this example, it is entitled Kuwatuweb or Tree of Life, which was excavated from the caves of Maros in Indonesia. What can you see? What is the subject of the petroglyphs? The subject are handprints, handprints of human beings. Now, there is no sequence to this example because these are just random handprints. But why was it entitled the Tree of Life? It is because the position of the handprints mimics the branches of the tree. What was the purpose as to why our ancestors have created these handprints or these petroglyphs? It symbolizes the marking of their territory to state that they have lived inside this cave and to also document their everyday lives. The second type of prehistoric art are pictographs. Pictographs are graphic imagery or symbols. It has a story or a sequence. Unlike a petroglyph, where you can start viewing it in any direction, pictographs need to be viewed on a specific direction for you to understand the story behind it. Our example of a pictograph, as you can see on your left side, is the hieroglyphics in Egypt. The third type of prehistoric art is prehistoric sculpture. It comprises of totemic statues and ivory carvings. The image on the left is an image of a female, one of the earliest examples of a fertility symbol, which is evident on the big breast, the wide hips, and the labia of the female. Now, as you can see, Venus of Willendorf is a fertility symbol. Whenever a couple cannot bear a child, they usually have this image on the altar of their household so that they can pray. This image is a symbol of their goddess, the fertility goddess, so that the goddess can give them a child. This fertility symbol is similar to the Filipinos' concept of sayaw sa ubando. Whenever a couple cannot bear a child, they will dance in front of Santa Clara so that Santa Clara would hopefully give them a child. The last type of prehistoric art is megalithic art. Megalithic art are architectural words associated with the formation of stones from the prefix mega, which means large or larger than life. Our example of megalithic art is Stonehenge from Wiltshire, United Kingdom. Now, as you can see from the four types of prehistoric art presented, the most common material used is stone or rock. Now, what are the three different types of stone or rock? The first type is metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rocks are created due to changes in the soil's extreme pressure or temperature. The second type is volcanic rock. Volcanic rocks are created from molten igneous magma. And the last type of rocks are sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are created through the deposition and compression of particulate matter. For these stones to be fashioned as prehistoric sculptures, EOLITHs or stone tools should be used. EOLITH is a general term used to describe stone tools used by our ancestors during the prehistoric period. These EOLITHs were not only used as tools to be able to create sculptures, to be able to carve in walls, but these eoliths were also used for hunting animals. It was also used as a form of protection. The oldest stone tools that were discovered were the OLDOWAN stone tools. The term OLDOWAN is taken from the site of the Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, where the first OLDOWAN stone tools were discovered by the archaeologist Louis Leakey in the 1930s. During the ancient times, there are two basic functions of art. The first function, art served as a form of communication to their gods and goddesses. And the second function of art served as a form of adoration to their deities, to their ruler, and to their deceased ancestors. Now fast forward to the modern times. What is the function of art? Art emerged already as a discipline that specializes in teaching people how to evaluate, critique, and interpret different works of art based on their own perspective. That is what we are doing in Humanities 101. You are being taught how to appreciate and how to critique different forms of art. There emerged also various schools of artistic thought like Cubism, Realism, Dadaism, and Surrealism. These different schools of thought we will be delving deeper once we reach the chapter in paintings. If you would look at your word text, there are 8 listed functions of art, but I would only be concentrating on 2 of the most important functions. And the first one is social function. Art serves as a form of social activism. It is a method on how we are able to voice out our sentiments, our opinions regarding relevant issues in our society. The second function of art is historical and cultural function. Art serves as a means of historical record of past figures and events, which also depicts our traditional customs. The perfect example of the historical and cultural function of art are the hanging coffins of Sagada. So you can see on the next picture, on the right side of the hanging coffins, there is a cave with coffins, with bones inside of it. The hanging coffins of Sagada is the perfect representation of the architectural ingenuity of our ancestors. This masterpiece is also an example on how art can be used as a means of historical record of our death rituals during pre-Spanish Philippines. The hanging coffins are suspended through tight ropes and wood in a cliffside. The people of Sagada believe that laying to rest your ancestors on the cliffside can assure that the dead will easily reach their destination or they are closer to heaven. Another reason as to why they hang their dead is because whenever they need to ask for guidance from their ancestors, they can easily communicate with them where they are located in the mortal realm and the ether. Students, thank you for listening throughout our discussion, and I will see you on our next meeting.